And after I'd had a pretty good tournament, and Kenny was sitting, we were out at Hickory Hills, and Kenny was sitting under a big old oak tree. I said, "What's the matter, Kenny?" He said, "Man, I'm just bummed." He said, "I didn't cash." He says, "I got to drive back to Florida. I don't even have money to get back to Florida. Don't have gas money." This is in '89. And I loaned him money, I gave him money to get him back to Florida, to Clearwater. And it was in '90 when he won the Worlds, and then the next 10, 10 in a row. I said, "Wow, that's quite a change."
Yeah.
He goes from not cashing to winning 10 straight.
Man.
But Kenny was a friend of mine when he first started, and he was throwing cobras. You could see that he had potential. He wasn't that good. He wasn't very good, but he kept getting better and better and better and playing. He'd come up to Atlanta. John David put a course down southeast of Atlanta, just really tight. Man, it was a great course. And Kenny come up there. After a couple of years, he just started just kicking butt.
He was a big cobra thrower.
Yeah. He could,
So I guess
he could work the covers.
Did he want a disc that's a little more overstable? Was that how they came out with the rock? Was he? Or was it
Yeah, no, it was about in there. The rock was like 89. Here's one of those.
199. That's almost 200 gram rock, man.
Yeah, I've got. I think this was one of the first rocks that right here.
I got one of these.
First run, Big Bird Glow San Marino rock. Yeah, around 89.
Little picture of that.
I mean, you can't hardly tell the difference looking at it.
Yeah,
but
yeah. It's just the fact that I know
Yeah.
that that is.
And what's the weight of it?
179. What was I paid $175 for this disc right there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there ain't too many of those.
Little piece of history.
That's awesome.
Mint condition, man.
Jonathan he brought that disc to me at the Worlds this year, put a picture of my bike on it to me.
That's beautiful.
I was like in shock. I couldn't believe it.
I bet.
And this was one of Ed's discs, got his stamp on it. He gave that to me in '85 in the Tulsa Worlds after I told him about the slider link. And we were out there practicing on Riverside course. And I was trying to throw this air bounce shot under these willow trees. And he said, and I couldn't hit it. I was practicing because I knew my drive was going to be there. And he said, "Here, try this and see how this disc works." And so he tossed me this soft touch, and I floated that thing in, hit the chains. He said, "Just keep that and put it in your bag." So I played with it for years, and I decided I'd finally retire it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Some of the early golf discs, different variations of golf disc. That Selling satellite up there actually hung in Whamo's hallway. Ed had that. It's got a hole drilled in it. If you look at some of the early photos in the '70s, you can see that actual Selling satellite that hung in Whamo.
That's awesome.
Digital.
Really
Absolutely.
Ed was on the Johnny Carson show in the early '60s. Ed invented the Super Ball, the water wiggle, and the hula hoop. He was just a marketing man, and he went on Johnny Carson with a Super Ball the size of a basketball. And I've got videos of Ed playing with that basketball size Super Ball on Johnny Carson show.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I think I've seen this Johnny Carson thing. I think that came on there.
I think I have. I remember seeing it on YouTube.
I didn't know it. I need to check and see if it's on YouTube. I need to look at it more. There's some sign disc over there's that Roadrunner that filled through that road runner over 700 feet right there in Georgia.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Dang. Yeah, have they always had the sliding?
Mm-hmm.
That's new.
No, well, they've done that for a while.
Oh, okay.
There's a little bit different from DGAs. They, I wouldn't call it a patent infringement, but about is. But you see that plaque right there? Ed Hedrick gave that plaque to the city of Huntsville when he installed Brahan Springs. It said in the park department for years. In the last 30 years, I've told the park department, says, if you ever retire, the guy that was in his office, I said, before you retire, I want that. I don't want it to disappear. And one day, last year, he walked in the store and said, here, Lavone, it's time that you can have this.
Yeah. Well, he chose a good place for it. That's for sure. Goes right along with all the other awesome stuff you got in here, man.
I just still love it. Love it as much as I did. Mid-90s, I can't remember. I mean, it's
Hey, Mike.
the years that start running together. I can't even keep up anymore.
Yeah, it's classic rock straight. Yeah.
Cheaper.
Whenever they came out.
It's actually considered a player too, I think.
It's when they first came out.
Yeah. But shortly.
How would you even grip
Early
that thing,
golf
man?
discs that weren't ever made.
These were prototypes.
Yeah.
Oh, you're fine, man. You're fine. Let me see this funny thing too. I like that. That is
It's an evil weapon. It would have been.
yeah.
But Dan Berman, you can see him on YouTube. Isn't Dan Big Arm Berman out of Jacksonville that did the Flazer?
I think you put some torque on that thing.
How did it fly?
Pretty good.
It feels.
And this
It
thing,
actually feels
I threw
great.
one of these all the way across Little River Canyon, the Monrovia one day, and I could see it on the other side. Joe Thacker and I, when we were traveling through, going to a tournament in Atlanta, I mean, it just turned up and just went dead straight, went all the way across the canyon. And I took a picture of it. You could see it on a rock all the way across the canyon.
That's wild. 50 to 100 made. That's awesome.
Yep.